I assume it's every hour.
Should be good.
Yeah.
Rotating on hours, I guess.
And,
Yeah.
and that's what they.
Ours only lasts like 30 minutes.
Ours was like 40 or 45, and that was with like technical difficulties.
Really?
Is the card out there for us to grab?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it like we can check it out?
I'm trying to figure out how to sign
They
up.
said just use it as training and put it back at the end.
I've heard them check them out because I don't know these things.
They did email.
They said they're not getting theirs until November, and so I doubt they're gonna let you check anything.
But the other part of it is they expect us to be able to teach them. They have to.
So you see that response. You come on and figure out those certain times.
Yeah, I don't understand, it's not with your eye. I didn't get that email.
Did you sign up and get one? I don't find
No.
the feelings we have one. We have
No,
one.
I didn't. I didn't have
So we
one.
probably didn't.
Oh.
You already got to sign in, so.
We didn't sign in that class over there.
You did?
Did
We
not.
did
know.
not.
I think you just signed
One time.
one time.
Okay,
So
cool.
I'll leave that one.
We'll pass it around.
Thank you.
He says for not exactly all that is.
Yeah. She's not here. Yeah. She's sick. So.
Or should I just not found out about it, just like you? Yeah, they changed it. So we didn't need. We just said we're supposed to sign it.
Yeah, I Yeah, it's very cute.
Hey, how are you? I'm doing good. Mila, in case anybody asks, that checkout time is today from 10 to 12.
10 to 12. So, anywhere you'd like it to be.
Well, it came from Beth Hopkins.
So we're recording.
So
I'm not.
it's-
Okay.
So maybe it'll just be at some point.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I was so confused because I thought, well, maybe the people are confused.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder if they're recording that.
Yeah.
Are you
Yes,
the recording man?
Yeah, but I talked to
I'll move into, I'm still gonna get her on.
Well, like I said, I found out at 4:30 yesterday that I was teaching this one, so.
Three.
I don't know if you really wanna record me, or if you just wanna like,
Uh-oh, my battery's
steal the
down.
YouTube videos I'm doing.
This is.
Did I pick the one that's not charged?
Switch here, I have this one.
I gotta
Sure.
sign up and sign out.
And there might be another one out there.
I got this one.
Thank you.
We thought I was gonna have to use it, so.
I found out before we went back.
Now, do you have the password for the internet for here?
Hotshot, hashtag, hotshot, hashtag.
So even for PT staff, or you just do
As
it?
I know, we're on the.
Here's one that's from the other class.
Yeah, what's that one?
PH 25,
Okay, hang on one second.
I was trying to gave you that one.
PH.
yes, 25, A 73 D.
Yeah, just open it.
I told them, they said they've done it 3 times. Let it take a breath. It's like I've been asleep all summer.
You have email yet?
I do.
And you can't go to where?
It goes to it, but like, when I go to here, it's only the actual creative class.
Do we need to be signed in to anything in particular for you?
The one that is not available, if you guys haven't signed in, that's the time.
Hello, what is this class? We didn't sign in the last one.
Okay.
It's a class.
Oh my gosh, I'm seeing like my students, I have them in a group here.
You guys ready to go? Okay, just, my email's up. Bother you that I'm sharing confidentiality right now, so.
Can't even read it from back here.
Perfect. So, I don't know how to work that, so like to get my, like split it, so we're just rolling. Okay, welcome, I'm Mila Stevens, I teach fifth grade science, and technology professional development website has some amazing things. They have 2 more Tech Tool Tuesdays. They've been hosting them. Sorry, I'm running to get you guys. But you can go back and listen and watch any of these. They also have a filter area. So here's a whole list of video tutorial database. So anything you have heard about and you want to know more of, you can scroll through this, you can filter search it, by students, by teachers, by name, by type, if you want to know, okay, about topics, courses, things like that. So kind of a neat little searching database right there. Another place that I found some interesting, gotta find it, is simpleK12.com. It seems a little spammy, like, cause it came up on my Instagram feed as like an ad, sponsored, and I was like, really? I don't know. But I attended a couple of their webinars. The free ones are 30 minutes long and are really fantastic. I was very impressed with their free webinars. You have to register for it. You can see I have some email from them, but it's nothing that I'm like, wow, I really made a mistake. So some really cool professional development, simpleK12.com. You can choose different specific things. Here's one that creates self-checking quizzes with Google Forms if you need help figuring out that. They have session descriptions, things like that. This is just kind of a general thing that I'm sharing with you. It is not add-ons. But they do have apps and extensions as a class. This one's for early elementary classrooms, so that one's what, today? Yep, today at 1:30. You can, yes.
And they do like encore presentations a lot. So
Nice.
if you miss the first one, but you sign up on an email, you're gonna get about 50 bajillion emails. And if you sign up with the text, you'll get all the text. But you'll see all the, like the encore presentations of what they already have.
Yeah, because I missed one on Tuesday and I was like, but it's already coming back around next week. Okay. Using Zoom, select your outcome stories and other tiered activities with Google Forms. This one, it's like a choose your own adventure. That's one of the ones I did and I actually loved it, using Google Forms. So simpleK12.com has a lot of free resources. Getting started with Seesaw, hacks for Google Classroom, lots of different things there. Okay, so add-ons. If you log into your school account, Gmail account, you have your Waffle app, and these are the apps and add-ons and things like that. More from G Suite Marketplace is where you can search for add-ons, apps, things like that. One of the ones that is already available to you is Jamboard. Drew's already pushed that one out. He will add Pear Deck as well. We're going to do Pear Deck. We're going to start with that one, I think, because it was the most impressive one for the teachers last class. And then we'll move into Jamboard.
Pear Deck is soon to be available?
Yes,
Or, okay,
it will be. Drew asked me this morning what I wanted on there. I said Pear Deck. So I don't think, the teachers this morning, I didn't realize he hadn't done it. He said, he acted like it's already on there, but I didn't, it actually may not have been.
Okay.
So if you sign in and you search for Pear Deck, then it will pop up pears in the fruit tree. For Google Slides, for active classrooms, that kind of thing. For Google Slides, it says app not whitelisted for install by Adam.
Okay, so not yet.
He's gotta give it the, yeah, it's good to add, but it will be added.
One more,
Yes.
did Screencastify ever come up for like being whitelisted? Cause
It's supposed to be, cause that was another one that we were going to add.
okay.
Not
Because
yet. And Loom was another one we were going to add. Not seeing, Loom might be in the
That-
slide itself. But this is where you would search for any of your thing. On the left side, there's education, academic resource, teacher and admin tools. So maybe you don't know what you're wanting to look at. Maybe you want Kami, maybe you want Flipgrid, that I was gonna show you guys. It allows, goodness gracious, Drew. Okay. Basically you can type, handwrite, and edit math equations in Google Docs. So for those of us, I know Stacy's math, anybody else math in here? Well, all of you should be using math in the classroom, I don't know what your problem is. You can put in formulas, write it out, and it's edited into your Google Docs, so it's right there for them. Because a lot of times we have problems with fractions and things like that.
She's just going through
Yeah.
different.
So MathType is an add-on app that you add on to Docs that you
Right
might
now,
really
she's in the
love.
Northern G Suite, and she's just looking through
Is
some.
everybody in there?
Like,
I have to focus and that's
some that
outside.
aren't even available for us. She's just looking.
Sorry
so I'm-
about that.
so
No,
I'm-
you're good, I just.
She's just
I
explaining
don't
the
know
route
if
around.
you're-
But we haven't gone through how to use it.
Thank you.
Okay, and feel free to like interrupt me as we go through some stuff. If I'm getting, I won't go too fast when I'm actually showing you a YouTube video, but feel free to work on your laptop as it goes. This first one, it's not active yet, but it will be, so you will be able to use it. Right now, you're just gonna have to experience it. So, this is called Pear Deck, the Fruit Tree Pear Deck. We're not gonna listen to 50 minutes of it. I'm stealing from the State Department of Education. She has done a fantastic job of trying to help us out with distance learning and all the technology that we're having to swallow. Her name's Karen Leonard, so if you haven't followed her, she's a great resource for this. So this is Pear Deck, as in the fruit tree, and there's a little YouTube video in here that introduces you to Pear Deck.
Oh, great. Okay, there we go.
Okay, so
Would
Pear
that
Deck
give you
pairs with your Google Slides to make them interactive, is the simple thing, yeah.
Is that the one that's, that one's completely free, or is it just like the,
There is an
Trial.
upgraded version.
okay,
that you
that's
pay
what I
for.
couldn't remember,
Right.
cause I said that on the, when we
Yeah.
were doing training last week, but I couldn't remember exactly.
I would just assume that everything has a free version and an upgrade version at this
Okay.
point in life, you know?
April reminded me.
So, okay.
elementary level only because that's something that I'm more comfortable teaching. Tools such as Pear Deck is very, you can a copy of this slide deck so that you can go through slide by.
Okay, so open Pear Deck, this is if you could add it on right now. You can't, I apologize. Add interactive slide templates or your own questions. Did someone take them? Yeah, okay. And then you start your lesson and it's ready to go.
Slide and follow these steps. A new window will
So
open.
she's walking you through how to get add-ons. So that install is where it will be in the future.
So we just read if it says app not whitelisted,
Yeah.
install by
He's,
admin.
yeah, Drew hasn't whitelisted it yet to be on your, he's supposed to. I don't know what he's doing right now, I would hope to be doing that.
Yes.
By it.
What's
That helps
that
if
lady's
you had
name?
explaining slide.
Karen Leonard,
Is that L-E-N, right?
Leonard,
Oh, okay.
like leopard.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the other way. So Karen Leonard.
Yeah, please yell out, stop me for sure. Okay, so 2 options, you can, if you've already created slides from last year, you can then take and Pear Deckify it, or you can start out new with the Pear Deck add-on already installed. So there's two ways you can do it.
Okay, so, I have a question.
Yes.
If I already have a PowerPoint presentation, what's the best way to,
You'll have to upload it to your drive and convert it to slides.
okay,
Yeah.
and they won't all convert, right? Or it'll
Yeah, some of
change
the
something?
features and
Okay.
things will be wonky for
Okay.
sure.
So you can't use that with PowerPoint, then you have to, it's Google Slides.
As far as I know, this is only for Google Slides.
Okay.
Yeah. So everything is gonna be Google from kinda here on out.
Okay.
So.
Slide decks or presentations in the past, and you don't always wanna start from scratch. So, I'm going to take a fake, old Google slide deck that I have and show you how I can Pear Deckify it. And I would call this slide deck the lemonade stand, and I would probably, think that this activity is more geared toward maybe first grade learners. So, I'm going to show you that once I'm in a slide deck, I can go to Add-ons and open my Pear Deck add-on. And you see a panel that has appeared on the right-hand side. And let's see, I think that since this is a first grade class, I'm going to go ahead and start using something from their template library. The template library is great. We'll examine this in closer detail soon, but I'm going to go down first of all and select one from social emotional learning. And I'm going to look for the slide. What do you think about topic slide? It's spinning as it's working, and it's going to pop it into the left.
So if you're familiar with Smart Notebook and things like that, and templates there, I know that elementary more is, this is a template library for slides as well. So if you're used to that kind of thing.
Hand side of my slide deck where I can see it, and I don't want it to have this question. I'm able to go in and personalize. What do you think? It helps if I spoke correctly. This lesson will be about. Here. And now I have an interactive slide. And when students get to this slide, they will be asked to type in a written response.
So you can see that,
Pretty
that's
easy.
the
If you notice
bottom.
across the bottom of that slide, there's now a panel that has the little Pear Deck icon, and you wanna make sure that you do not delete that, because if you delete that panel, that will take away the interactivity of your slide. And on the left-hand side, if that slide didn't go in exactly where I wanted it to, I can move the order around just like, any other slide. Good, there we go, I want that down there. And, okay. So, I'm going to go on to my next slide. And back on the Pear Deck panel, I'm going back to my home panel. This is a new feature within Pear Deck, and I think that this is pretty exciting. I'm going to add audio to my slide. Now, I could record anything I wanted to. Maybe I wanted to record instructions for students. Maybe I wanted to just say hi. It could be the introduction to a lesson. I'm going to press record. And the first time I try to do any recording, Pear Deck is going to ask me if I will allow it to use my microphone. I'm going to click allow, and now I'll never have to worry about that again. And honestly, it's already started recording my audio. I can press pause, and it will allow me to pause and restart recording. I can save it and listen to it, and now I'll never have to worry about it. And I can say, ooh, I really don't like that one. I could delete the file, but in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and add that short clip into my presentation. Now, the longer the recording, the longer it will take to process that clip and place it within your slide. But now, you will see up in the top right-hand corner that audio is included, and I'm able to move that wherever I want to on the slide. Just like the panel across the bottom of my slide, I want to make sure that I do not delete this link. Students will not see that, it's only for teacher view. If I were to move that, then I would delete my audio and need to start all over again. So, I have, let's say I wanted to record a short story for them. For best practices, Peer Deck recommends that keeping your slide recordings short will help students concentrate more easily on both the audio instructions and on your prompt within the slide. While recordings can be longer than that, they suggest recordings of no more than 2 to 3 minutes in length. You're always able to add recordings to each slide in your presentation so that you can stagger and customize the instructions as you go.
Does it just
So
play
when-
automatically, or?
So when they go through it, I think, it will play automatically on that slide. I think you can also click on it to start the play as well. I haven't used it yet in the classroom, so I learned about it this summer and stuff like that. So I'm not like a pro at it. I like Mr. McElroy's email, brave teachers that are teaching this because, yeah, I don't know all the answers, so, but she does go through and show you what it's look like on the student end at the end, so. But I like that because you can add like, for those auditory learners or the ones that can't read yet, or can't read a lot, depending, and so but you do wanna keep it short because the more data that goes in those files, the longer it takes for anything to download, and we know how that works here, so.
Students come in, they will see the little icon with the headphones, and they will know that they're able to click and listen to that information. The great thing is students can go back and listen to that information as many times as they need to. Unfortunately, at this time, it does not allow students to record audio to respond to your question.
So, good and bad with that, you know.
That's probably one of those things. I know Google is a company that if you send off suggestions to them, they're pretty good about taking those suggestions. So maybe if you're interested in having audio, and now I'm going to ask, I'm going to use one of these Ask a Student a Question circle icons, and I am going.
So one of my thoughts is even though they can't record their audio, you get to ask interactive questions like multiple choice and things. So if your audio is that question and A is apple, B is banana, what's your favorite fruit is the question kind of thing, they could hear that question and then still maybe be able to recognize A, or you can do pictures too, so they can recognize and select the correct answer for them. So there's, it doesn't all have to be words, it can be pictures too.
Going to select a multiple choice question.
She
So
has
far
a
on this
grandfather
slide,
clock.
I've added
There you
audio, and now I'm going to ask, insert a multiple choice question. And my question is going to be, which type of lemonade do you like best? And choice A will be yellow lemonade, once again. Choice B will be pink lemonade. And choice C will be, I don't like lemonade. And I can update my slide. And it's thinking, and so now it's added that option in across the bottom. And maybe I insert my question here, or maybe that's what I've used my audio for. Students will then have a panel on their side, which you'll experience later on, and they'll be able to select A, B, or C and move on. So now my next slide, I had some, oh, you know what? I want to do an end of the story slide. I'm going to go back to my story template. And for this one, I'm going to go down to the littles K2 slide. And I noticed down here,
So you can see all the
there
templates,
is
she's just.
another text slide that I'm going to pop in. And it's thinking. And thinking. Here we go. And again, how do I think the child in the story feels? I'm going to say, how do you think the boy felt at the end of the story? And I can pull that up there. And actually, I want that to go right after the lemonade stand slide. So I pulled that up there and able to reorganize. And again, this is where students are allowed to put their input in and tell you what they thought about this is Lily's feelings. Now I'm going to add a math concept in here. And for this one, I'm showing them that, a picture of a quarter.
I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit,
If 1 cup of lemonade,
but are you guys getting the idea of how it can customize the slides, interactive, things like that? There's her question, solve the problem, type a numerical answer. She inserts in a music break, because we know sitting screen is not ideal for anybody, you know, for hours on end. So she entered in a music break, you're able to upload a song or 20-minute second section of like a dance party, or maybe it's a run around and do 10 jumping jacks kind of thing. Whatever, she entered in a break there for her music, and this is her showing how she uploaded it. You can get in and play with those kinds of things, the audio included. Questions so far?
Did you say she shows how to insert music?
Sure, do you want me to play that?
Only if you want to, because we can watch, I can watch this later. But.
It's fine. And this is available. I obviously still
relax and respond. I'm going to add audio to this slide, and this time, instead of me recording, I'm going to upload something that I've downloaded previously.
So she already has music on her
Before I
Okay.
found an MP3, and I'm going to put that in here, and I know that this is a short 2-minute song, and I'm going to add that right there into the slide, so the students are able to take a break and just listen. And some of you, I know, use sites such as GoNoodle as brain breaks, and that's something that you could add into a slide like this to make sure that students are having that.
Are you familiar with GoNoodle?
Mhm.
So yeah, a little upload of files. So you already have to have music on your computer to upload it. That would be one thing that you have to work on. So music break, audio. Let's see if we can skip ahead a little bit.
So the template is part of the pair?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
And we'll get to it in a moment, but the Pear Deck website, it's much easier to browse through all those templates a little bit, because it's not just right there on the right side of your screen. It opens it up for the full screen. Nice thing about slides, student paced, they can go at their own rate, so very differentiated. If you attend one of the Screencastify sessions, you know, you can record yourself on the slides, but the students don't get that interactive. So you want to know which way you're teaching. So when you record yourself teaching, it obviously doesn't make sense for it to be interactive to choose those right answers for the student. You know, so do you need to Pear Deckify every slide deck? Maybe not, because if you're the one up there teaching it, it won't do anything for your kids. You know, you won't be able to select their answer. You don't want to choose the answer for them. Is what I'm trying to say. That may not make sense. If they're at home distance learning, you would totally want Pear Deck, because then they could have that interactive slide. It just merges the teaching content with the question answer side of things, the responses. Does that make sense? That was kind of a terrible explanation at the beginning. Okay. Let's move it along a little bit. Okay, so here's the website she's going to talk about.
Resources found on this website. Before I click on the resources, I want you to notice the bottom of my screen. I have a gray bar across the bottom, and I've entered a website. You can do that with one of those circle
So where she added
question
audio,
options within the panel. And that's a very easy way for you to share a website with students without having them needing to navigate anywhere else.
So if you want them to go to GoNoodle, you could put that link in there, and it will take them to GoNoodle.
So within the Pear Deck website, under resources, I think this is really cute. They have an orchard where they have other activities and decks that you're able to select from. And here's a screenshot from that. If you're building a lesson, you don't have to start from scratch. All of the templates that are found in the panel are also available through this website, but there's also additional templates created, and you may want to go and check some of those out as well.
So you can see, well, I paused it right, but there's a math specific section as well. So.
There's also Mozilla Daily decks that are added, and with distance learning opportunities, this might be a good tool, or even within the classroom. And if you're not familiar with Mozilla, The daily decks are great because they're ready to teach activities. They release 5 daily decks every Monday, and these are adapted news articles, so you're teaching your students nonfiction reading skills. And again, they can range from high school reading level to little's reading level, and they offer interactive prompts that help you and your students explore current events. I think that's a great way to provide students.
If you're not familiar with Newsella, it's not just daily decks, like pair decks, it's also just a website with articles. You can assign them to the students' grade levels. It has quizzes that pair along with it, like current events, articles. You can assign articles to the students and they can read it, take quizzes, that kind of thing. It's a great website. Science topics, art topics, social study, they cover a range of things. You can read right there, that's quite, this is the Toro, and this is sports marble racing, with science. It's just a lot of interest there.
Exposure to not only nonfiction readings contain either a video or an article paired with 2 or 3 discussion prompts. And remember, you could always take the discussion prompts shared within these and edit them or add your own as well.
So Weekly Wonders kind of reminds me of writing prompts. That's kind of what I think of.
Do you know,
Okay.
the Newsella, are they already aligned with Oklahoma State standards?
It's literally just an article and questions of
Just
the
a
article.
comprehension,
Yeah, it's a comprehension tool. So,
On
it's
this
great.
pair decks, how do you get, does it grade any of their stuff?
It
or
doesn't
where
grade
does-
anything,
okay.
but it will show, we're about to go through the their student side of it, but it will show you all their answers at the end, kind of deal.
Now you've seen a lot of the behind the scenes part of Pear Deck. I'm going to have you experience an interactive Pear Deck. So what I need you to do, and if you are uncomfortable navigating from my Zoom screen
So this is
into a
pre-recorded, I
new,
just-
there is the 5-letter randomly
So I really like their codes, zesty avocados, notice red carrots, that's their, I just think that's what it is.
generated code, VANRC. And right now I can already tell that I have 4 students connected. So in the teacher view, it's great because I can watch as that number increases, and I'm able to make sure that if I've got 25 students in my class, all 25 are connected.
So that would be obviously if we're in class, at home, they could do it at their own time. It's not like they have to start it at 9 a.m. It's available to them. Skip ahead a little bit.
Session. And even as a presenter, up in the top right-hand corner, that join code will remain there throughout my entire session. So, late joiners in the class can always know, oh, you're on a Pear Deck, here's the website I need to go to, and they can look up onto the screen, my presentation screen, to see what join code is. And I have to go through, I've Pear Decked my entire presentation, but I'm going to fast forward ahead to where we are. And now you are going to have the opportunity to respond. So my first question is a text response question. What do you like most about teaching?
So this is what it would look like for the students, because it's in their presentation mode, and you can see students write your response down at the bottom.
So for those of you that are in the interactive session and are participating, I would love to see you begin to type in some of your responses. And if you're still in the Zoom, so that no additional responses can be entered. So for those of you that are in my Zoom session, I'm going to show.
So this is where the responses come up. You can see that the students are assigned a random animal, so it's all anonymous for when you present it to the class, if you're trying to show it to the class. There's also a grid view of the answers as well. I think on the back end you can see as the teacher who wrote what. So it's not anonymous like that. So different answers, response grid view. view.
multiple choice response representing the deck.
So here's another one that you can see the answers.
Data for you and for your students if you choose. Or this one's a little different. For numerical responses, I'm able to see them in an overlay where they're, you can block it down into quartiles or kind of get a good idea based upon, a good understanding of.
Wow, we're really struggling with this one question area, right? Because all my students are struggling down here to be scored low kind of layout. Different answers, so this is what it looks like for the class view. Going ahead.
Tab and go back to just the Zoom presentation. I have a couple additional things to share with you before I ask or allow you to ask some questions. Let me go on. We're almost there.
Okay, and that's her showing about that tutorial database that I talked to you about earlier. These are some of the popular ones that she listed right there. Flipgrid, Google Classroom, Jamboard we're gonna do next, Pear Deck, Screencastify, Seesaw, those kind of things. But you can go through and filter and find those questions about Pear Deck and the interactive slides part of it. That's pretty cool. So it is kind of cool. It's nice because it's not like they have to go to another location to answer questions. It's all right there in it. Yeah.
Have you got to play with it yet?
I haven't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has anybody played with it yet? Well, I've been waiting on Drew to make the add-on available, cause I need a drag and drop option.
Yeah.
And I think it has that, but I
Yeah.
haven't got to play with it yet.
Yeah. I thought he said this morning that he whitelisted those words came out of his mouth. He's like, I opened it up for everybody, but I need to go find him at this next turnover and be like, it's not that way. Okay, so that is Pear Deck. I'm excited about it. Let's see, we've done math type. So the next one we're gonna do is Jamboard. We'll go through this one kind of quickly. It is a Google tool. It's just a sticky note option. So kids can collaborate and put sticky notes in. It's like, they call them frames instead of slides. But it's basically page after page after page of Google. And we're gonna go through this one a little quicker because it's not as involved. So, okay.
I do want to provide a clarification though. There are two different versions of Google Jamboard. One is an actual whiteboard that was created and developed by Google for collaboration purposes, and Google Jamboard, the web version, and that's the one we're going to be focusing on today. Let's see how Google Jamboard can help students and teachers collaborate easily and effectively. Making an interactive.
I forgot to tell you, you actually have this one on your, this one's already on there, so if you want to add your waffle here and scroll down, it should appear with your Jamboard. So if you want it on your computer, you can play with this one, yay! While we kind of go through it. So click Jamboard, and it'll open up. And then in the bottom right, there's the new Jam add button. It's an orange plus sign, or orange circle with a white plus sign. And that's where you can start your new Jam. So you guys can actually do this one. If you need help, just let me know on how to find it. And then you'll want to title it something. You can add a new, so go to your waffle and scroll down here. It should already be in your waffle, yeah. Yeah, there it is. So, Drew has this one on.
It says tap to create one.
Yep, so the bottom right, the orange circle, yeah, you gotta hit the, so, yep, you got it. So, the bottom right is the orange, yeah.
I don't have
Start
jam yet.
No jam? Did you want strawberry or blueberry? Isn't it funny how they're all fruit, like pear and jam? I'm like, what is this? Okay, so when you hit new Jamboard, you'll create this. Up here in the left-hand corner, it says Untitled Jam, so you'll need to label it something, okay? I don't know.
First jam.
First Jam, I like that. I'm doing that, I'm stealing it, Stacy. Mila's First Jam. Okay, so now you have your first jam board. And I can kind of talk you through this, but up on the top middle, those are your frames. You can hold it down and it will show you them. You can add frames. So like I said, it's kind of like slides, but they call them frames. You can hide that back and you can switch between them in the middle. On the left side, there's a pen, so you can draw. You can erase, the one below it. You can switch back to your mouse. Questions on that so far?
No.
With your pen, you have options for colors. There's a little arrow there that will pop out. You can have a highlighter, marker, kind of like a paintbrush. You can choose different colors. Prettiness. You can add pictures. This is the sticky note here. That's where you start getting into the whole function of Jamboard. You hit save and then your sticky note gets put there. You can adjust the size of it, rotate it. Your three dots, edit, duplicate, or delete. So, laser. I don't know. So if you want to point to something right here, folks.
So, I might be jumping again, but I
No,
have a
you're good.
question. So, like if I had, which one doesn't belong or something like
Yep,
that
yep.
up on here, and then I wanted them to put a sticky note, about why they,
Yep.
when they picked it,
Yep.
why they picked it. How do they connect to what I made?
Okay, so you'll have to be set up with your Google Classroom, and you'll share it with them through that, would be my advice. In the upper right-hand corner, you can also click share and type in their names. Remember that, you'll want them to have, so let's say, Stacy, I'm gonna share my first jam with you. Make sure they have the editor mode, not the viewer mode.
Okay.
If you want them just to look at your Jamboard as a viewer, if you'd like them to actually be able to write on it, type it, edit, you need to have them edit. And then hit send.
So if I would have to load this up to my Google Classroom.
Yeah, that would be my way of doing it,
Okay.
because I want everything in one place that's easy to access for my students.
Okay.
And to have them go through their email for the Jamboard, or go through Drive for the doc, and then Google Classroom for the assignment, like, I want one centralized location, their desk, their Google Classroom right there. Here's your assignment with Jamboard. So, if I were to do that for my classroom, I would click on Classroom, we'll just assign it to my GT kids. So, create assignment, add, Google Drive, and then there's my first jam right there. Click on it, insert that in. They can view the file, edit the file, or you can make a copy for each student.
So if you do it where they, the second one where it goes out to, not where it's individual copies, so will they see everybody's comments?
Yes.
Okay.
So students can edit the comments, that would be the one, that's how I would use the Jamboard, because to me it's a collaborative effort on how you're using it.
I just wanna make sure they can all see, okay.
Yeah, so I would do edit the file, and anybody in that classroom can edit that file. So my 9 students that joined my Google Classroom GT, because we rarely use Google Classroom, for GT was edit. I would do edit. And then they would be assigned that, and it would pop up and show it to them. And they would see this right here. And then they could add their own sticky notes, colors, things like that.
And then if you wanted to talk about it, you could just pull it up
Mm-hmm.
onto your.
Yeah, just go back to my, I could go through Classroom, or I could access it through my Drive, however I wanted to do it. So, questions on how to use this part of it? What we just covered? Okay. You have different background options. So Stacy, let me go to a different deck. So Stacy, if you need grid paper for your drawing of, draw me a square, so if I need to change my brush. They can really do that. If we had stylus or touch boards, it might be a a little better. They have grids, you have lined paper, you can just have a dark color or a black color. If you hit clear frame, let me go back to the slide, so it'll be obvious here. It will take away everything that you wrote and the sticky note. So it leaves just the background.
So can you see who posted which sticky note on there?
You can't.
Okay,
I would advise have them write their name on their sticky note.
that's what I was saying, okay.
So say hey, or don't write your name on your sticky note. So just be aware of that clear frame button. So that would be, there is the undo button.
Hey, Myla.
Yes.
Just out of curiosity, because I need collaboration.
Absolutely.
My kids can't read, so
Here's
does
your
anybody have
pictures.
ideas how I can use this?
Here's pictures.
Okay.
Let's pick apples. Look, an apple. Selected. Sort the apples and the pears.
Okay, thank you. That's what I was like, I needed
Here's the
connection
red
between.
items, here are the orange items. Yeah,
Gotcha.
sort them away.
Gotcha,
Yeah,
thank you.
pictures.
Can you add audio on Jamboard?
Nope.
You might wanna use that other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you do Screencastify or Loom where you record while you're teaching, then yes, because it would be a pre-recorded session and they'd be able to play it back. Would they be able to interact with it? Not, it'd be like the video you're watching now. So.
But
Okay,
if
so
you
that,
did, if they couldn't read yet and you had two different images on there and you wanted them to pick, you could just give them the instructions of to place their sticky note by which one they think is the,
Could they read their name? Maybe?
whatever.
I wouldn't think, yeah, I was like maybe. Some might
but you
recognize
can't do,
their name.
because she asked you can't put audio over it, right?
You can't, as far as I know, you cannot.
Okay.
Unless you turn on Screencastify or Loom, which
But
I don't know
then
if you've attended the session.
I have, and that's why I was trying to put it
So
all
you
together.
could, as you record your Screencastify, you would be able to do it.
And they would still be able to manipulate.
But cause it would be, cause that, all Screencastify does is record.
They'd just be watching it.
So you have to do the assignment,
I'd have to
click on
show
that.
it, do
Yeah.
one and show it, and then send out
And then
another
send
one,
one
and
out.
they could do it.
Or attach
Yes.
on that assignment with that video, yeah.
Yes,
Gotcha,
yeah, that would
okay.
be either way.
All, what do you say, the screen what?
Screencastify.
Or Loom, it's like
Yeah.
recording your screen.
It's really easy. Yeah, so that's Jake's session. But yeah, so that would be I like that. You basically create one, model how to do it, send them theirs, they do it. So, what else? Let me go to the video and we'll just skip ahead to the how to use it part, ideas. So.
Your students prior to using. So, let's see. Some usage tips. As with
Skip
all
ahead a
new
little bit.
tools, other things, if multiple clear background sticky to share your instructions, or if you,
Oh yeah, there is a clear background sticky note. Here's one that Sasser looked at this morning, is that you could move, like this one's a view only example, but you could move car, bar, the letters up to
Make the word.
make the words. So there's one that we looked at. There is a clear sticky note, no background, so if you wanted to include the instructions kind of thing, it just appears like as part of, and you can put it down in the right corner, that kind of thing. So it looks like it's part of the slide, so nice feature there.
like to add a little more information and maybe change the font and if you would like to have students work in different groups. Color coding or numbering slides, if you would like to have students work in different groups. It just helps organize, and again, the more specific you can be with your expectations and usage detailed information, the easier it is for students to navigate.
So that idea refers to the slides up here. You assign group 1 this slide, group 2 this frame, group 3 this frame. And then at the end, you have an entire Jamboard of everybody's. So maybe the group 1's working on the beginning of the story, group 2's the middle of the story, group 3's the end of the story, and they sequence it or put up their ideas or main ideas of a lesson topic, those kinds of things, so you can split it up a little bit, but then at the end you have a summary of whatever. I'm just using random examples. But do you guys have any ideas on how you might use Jamboard? Have you thought of some things yet? I think it's an interesting tool. I'm not like, I think people are more creative than I am. I would definitely just Google Jamboard and see how other teachers are using it. I learned so much. I learn from others much better. So.
There is also the ability to turn off editing rights after a certain time. So if you have had students work together to create a document and it's just perfect and you do not want anything else to change within that, you're able to go into settings and just set it so it's view only, so that it remains that way for the future.
So maybe it was due by noon and
I'm going to share some examples and ideas for using Google Jamboard. And here is one that I've created based upon digital citizenship. Let's make that this screen. As I said, here are examples of providing group role instructions and instructions.
So that's using the clear one, so it has directions on there. Basically, she goes through groups for it, group 3, group 4, that kind of thing.
Arrow in the top left-hand corner. So it's not all gone, but I catch that quickly, so.
Okay, and can you identify which students post?
And this answers that question.
Unfortunately.
Okay, that's it.
Well, let me share some other ideas. I was speaking with the people in our office, and we have been using Jamboard quite a bit. And here are some usage suggestions from our curriculum and instruction team. We personally have been using Google Jamboard as a way to welcome new faculty or new.
So my thoughts on Jamboard, it's simpler than slides. So if you don't want them messing around a lot with like all the different backgrounds, all the different templates, things like that, it's very easy for them to come in.
Well, this
And
would be a
just-
really good, like they're doing right there, if you had to, say you had to start school, virtually instead of in person,
Absolutely.
where you normally go around and talk about yourself
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
introduce yourself, you could do a little thing like that, where they tell something about themselves.
Absolutely. I mean, you could do an exit ticket this way, like post something you learned today, and I know that's obviously not so much for littles, but maybe you put the red crayons in, like, maybe you sort your colors on the way out. Everybody gets, a picture and they move it to the right spot, There's things you can do.
Staff into our department. Each person was asked to write a sticky to welcome our. Here's an example
Icebreakers,
of
warm-ups.
a Jamboard being used as an icebreaker. Up in the top left-hand corner was the question that was posed: have you participated in design thinking activities? And as you can see, the more stickies that are used, the more chaotic it is. But sometimes that's kind of the fun and the brainstorming, and we would be able to then, after the initial brainstorming session, go in and sort the individual stickies into yes, or not yet, or, again, that way you can kind of example of a brainstorming session where people put their individual thoughts on, again, colored stickies. And then after the 3-minute brainstorming session, people went back and were able to group similar or like ideas. You could also use Jamboard as an end of the lesson activity where you pose a question.
So graphingstories.com, I haven't visited that yet, but that could be interesting.
Or as an, and we can revisit the Jamboard.
Yeah.
So can you, if you're doing like a regular presentation and slides, can you insert a Jamboard into that? Or is that like a separate, like you have to have a separate, am I making sense?
Hey, we got paid.
What?
Where's my paycheck?
external? Cause I'm not familiar with like Google Slides very much. Like, is there an option to insert something, just anything from somewhere else?
So insert, yeah, I mean, yeah,
Well, what about like if you turn on the add-ons, isn't that, could you, I don't know.
yeah, I don't think you can, I mean, other than, you do have your drive, you have access to your entire drive. So there's space, see? There's space, see? So whatever's in your drive, it looks like you can add on to.
Okay.
So if you save it to your drive and then you
Yeah.
open it up in slides,
But they might,
Would
but
it-
would it just be a
That's what
slide or
it
would
would
it be
just
active?
be, yeah, would it still be where they can add things to it?
Well, that's what I'm, yeah.
Yes, I did.
I gotta do that.
Okay.
So,
Oh, stop. No, I didn't. My brain.
so it's not coming up
My
in
daughter's on her
slides.
way back home.
Okay, 'cause they say it's Miles First Jam,
I'm tracking her.
But-
She's in Chicago.
no, so no.
But it was on your drive.
It was
When
on
you
my
had that
drive,
one
yeah.
page
I
on
mean,
your
you could
drive.
push it out,
Yeah.
you could push two different things out if you wanted, that's not the big deal, I just thought it would be nice if you were in the middle of a presentation and you wanted, but I guess you could use Pear Deck probably, I bet Pear Deck probably has something.
Maybe, yeah. I
That
mean,
might
cause
take
here
the
that
place
you
of
somebody
that.
types on and
Right,
do.
right, I bet it probably has something else.
Alright, any questions about that, or anything?
So can you, this other one that started with an F, I forgot what it was, but it's one that they added on, can you tell us just a minute about
An
that?
F, an F, which one's an F?
Was, let's see.
Word wall.
No, it was one of the, in the Google.
And a waffle.
In my waffle.
Yeah.
Flipgrid? Oh, Flipgrid or
Yeah.
Flipgrid?
Oh, Flipgrid.
Okay. Flipgrid. Oop, not grid. So I use Flipgrid, if you guys wanna go, you're absolutely welcome, I don't want you to feel. I used Flipgrid at the end of science last year, when we were remote learning, and I had my kids do a topic, animal reviews. So I gave them their directions, and, they had to have a description of an animal. It was a fun assignment. They had to do the pros and, they rated an animal. They had to do the pros and cons of an animal, interesting facts about the animal that were true, and they had to give it a 5-star rating, 3-star rating, kind of thing like that. Let's see, here's Connor's.
It's the only con I can think of, but it's a pro for them. One pro bees have is they make honey, and honey is delicious. I love honey. Another pro is bees pollinate. When bees pollinate, they move pollen to different plants, so those plants can grow and make fruit that has seed.
So they are able to record themselves, and then I approve it, and they're active, and then the kids can all see each other's videos. That was a modified version of our final project video. Yeah, you're
That's good that you have to approve it so that you know what they're saying.
Yeah, I have to approve it, they get to record it, like Kennedy actually did twice, but Flipgrid's really cool.
Thank you, Maya.
I see a lot of new faces. If you are interested in OBA,
Did everybody sign in that has not signed in?
I haven't signed in yet.
Okay.
I am the new representative for the OEA. If anybody wants any information.
Yeah, they brought to me this hour.
Beginning of the year.
I logged out. No, you're great.
Thank you, Maya.
I will get that information. I will definitely.
I will take a picture of my login and send it to the platform and take a social. And you pull up the items on there, they're on there, whatever, so hey, this is what should log in, and you'll have to, I'll take a picture of my login, so you have all the.
Still can't do it.
Out of there, like, I've had them to monitor and private their all sorts of stuff. So if you wanna go to the
I know, helpful. And she know that we like it,
it's capital
On this side, you sit next to you.
She was like, hey,